Exalted, what's going on? How you doing? As always, we're gonna give people just a little bit of time to get in here. Dokkan woes, but we live in. Managed to end up pulling, was that word? The new Goku and a copy of the AGL Gohan from that banner. Hopefully with the stones they give out later today, I might be able to, get the Frieza, but I'm not really looking for the Frieza. I'm booling with or without the Frieza. And worst comes to worst, I just pick him up with red coins when he comes back around. Kyoro Rampa, how you doing? What do you mean spoilers? I couldn't believe it either.
Welcome to the family, son.
Finally can use my prime sub hog.
Let's fucking go, Skyward. Welcome back to the family for the 5 months with the big Prime Gaming. Thank you for sticking with the family. Gonna lurk, fair enough. I figure that a lot of the rest of this case is gonna be exposition to help set up for both case 4 and 5, based on the amount of exposition that we've gotten thus far. B-boy, what's going on? How you doing? Getting bad luck on Dokkan? Couldn't be me. Anywho, I feel like we've wasted enough time already. I think this is like 4 to 5 minutes. I feel is like the appropriate like wind up. Let people get in here. If people aren't in here and they're like, "Damn, I'm late," then fuck them. Discord does what Twitch can't notify people? Yeah, that's why I post every time I go live in there. So when people are like, "I'm late, what did I miss?" I'm like, well, you shouldn't be. What's going on though, J Smooth? Alright. So, last time we were here, we didn't start case 3, but we continued it. We finished our first courtroom sequence, trying to defend our client Albert Hairbrain for the murder of Odie Asman. Oh, hold on, I just noticed something that when we get into game I'm gonna have to investigate here. But due to a somewhat recognizable science experiment gone wrong, our client is was completely under the impression that his experiment worked. Maybe a little bit delusional, just so he could hold on to that last bit of hope that his idea wasn't a complete sham. But it seems that he was swindled by his financier and engineer, Odie Asman, and the engineer known as Enoch Drebber. So coming out of the courtroom, we went to go do a little bit more investigation, and learning that Drebber was responsible for the engineering and almost swindling of Albert Harebrain, we quickly came to the realization that there was a little bit more to the plan of just getting grant money for scientific experiments, and we found out that our wonderful judiciary assistant, Miss Susato Mikotoba, has returned to England. She came in just at the nick of time to help us in almost a divine timing sort of moment. But now she's back, and with her being back, we can investigate with her, and investigating with her, we got a okay from Lord Mail Strongheart to investigate the crime scene just a little bit. And upon investigating the crime scene, we ran into Baroque Van Zeeks with the Special Dispensation of the Scientific Equipment Act, or whatever the fuck it's called, the SDC, right? With that being dispelled for the time being and allowing us to investigate the crime scene, both the prosecution and defense moved there in order to ascertain more information. However, upon getting there, we ran into not only Van Zeeks, but his apprentice as well. And upon seeing this masked man, Susato, just like Ryunosuke, felt that he was very, very, very familiar and called out to him by his name. And it is now under the impression of both Ryunosuke and Susato that Baroque Van Zeek's 3-month deep apprentice is Kazuma Asogi. Not in fact dead, but back to the land of the living. But with that, we couldn't talk to him. It seems that he has suffered a very grave case of amnesia. So investigating the crime scene further, we tried to find more information about Enoch Drebber, leading us to go ask Herlock at his what now seems to be day job at Madame Two Spells, where he had recovered the stolen wax figure model. I don't know how you want to phrase that. The wax work, I think, is the official term that they use. But the stolen waxwork mostly recovered, only missing its head. And the special exhibit in Madame Two Spells was able to be almost returned to its original state, featuring the professor, the renowned serial killer of the last 10 years, escaping from his grave, being witnessed by one sole man, Enoch Drebber, who is also the engineer that built Albert Harebrain's machine. So, with that said, I think the only thing that I'm missing now is, after we returned to our consultancy and had a sit down with both Iris and Susato, we learned that the reason that Susato knew of the Hound, or she knew the title of the Hound of the Baskervilles manuscript, was because she saw it in her father's office, workshop. I don't remember exactly where she said she saw it, but before we left Japan, right? Before we left on the steamship with Kazuma and Susato ended up seeing the Hound of the Baskervilles manuscript in her father's possession. So, I think that wraps up quite nicely. And as of right now, we have used Inspector Gina Lestrade's very keen-nosed police dog, Toby, to find Enoch Drebber's workshop. And I don't know if we're gonna wait out for him or gonna find him in here, but the only way we can know for certain is if we continue. What's going on, SM? How you doing? All right. 23rd of October, Enoch Drebber's Brick Shop. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so. Though only a prototype, naturally. So you got here, then? Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time. You've really worked miracles. It's Toby here who's the miracle worker. Thank you, Toby. Is this the most that a dog has ever done? Like, because I don't remember Missile doing anything this useful. On purpose, at least. I don't remember Missile doing anything this crazy. Gregson, are you alright? I thought you lot would show it before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. It looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Oh yeah, one other thing that I forgot to mention is that, after this case, Gregson's getting the fuck out of the country. Him and Gina are going to, Paris. To assumably work for their police division there. Which is kind of interesting. I guess that removes them from the story. Oh. Fuck, there was a whole lot of exposition, so you're gonna have to forgive me for forgetting details and just remembering them, like, as they come back to my mind. We also found out that Miss Giselle Brett, the foreign exchange student that was in Japan that took the life of Dr. John H. Wilson, was actually not Giselle Brett. There was never a person that was named Giselle Brett that lived in England whatsoever. Her name was actually a pseudonym for her real name, which to us, we don't have the full name. However, we do have her first initial and last name. A Miss A. Shin. Which, if that does sound familiar, that was one of the 4 names on the encoded Morse code music discs that were being smuggled around by Ashley Graydon and Magnus McGilded. So now we know the identity of all 4 names that were on that music disc that said, and that is all 4. Tobias Gregson, Kazuma Asogi, Miss A. Shin, and Dr. John H. Wilson. And with 2 of those people dead and one of them still walking around as an amnesiac, we know exactly where all 4 of the people that were on that list are. 2 of them lost their lives in Japan, and 2 of them are still walking around the streets of London. So, whatever the case may be, it seems to be a little bit more nefarious that the foreign exchange students seemingly found their way to their destined country no matter what. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. But Van Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on their way as we speak. Them again. I imagine you got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Alright. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes? Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do lawyers. Very droll, Gregson. Very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. Now, first things first. Wait. This feels like it should give us the ladder. Damn. Yeah. I had a feeling that it might be the hitbox for the machine. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. That machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for the Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from Crown and government. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception seem to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor or nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here. My dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Susato. Door. Now this is a fucking quiver. Music change. This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, suppose... Crossbow bolts. These... Just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition ground. In other words... Yep. More evidence to support your theory. All goes to show that Trevor was the one pulling the strings behind the whole scenes of the whole scam. Alright. So with the crossbow belonging to Mr. Enoch Trevor, doesn't that like 100% seal the deal? Because I feel like this is just like conclusive, right? Anywho. This appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive-looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No. I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks.
I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? What's going on, Jay Xander? How you doing?
It's curious, though, isn't it? You'd expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. This gentleman can be quite a mystery at times.
Alright. Up. Just the machine, then. What on earth is this?
Aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies.
Is that how the trick will be described, is it?
Sorry?
Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it?
Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky.
While suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects can't really stay in the midair unsupported.
So to you, the solution is in taller towers.
I mean, that's how it probably would be back in this day and age. The door was the last thing. Gonna make his inner lockdown again, so I'm stuck inside. Be safe, brother. I know that shit's fucking not super fun. And I'm, as shitty as it may sound, being locked inside might actually be the best thing for you. This door doesn't want to open.
It looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it.
There's a special locksmith on his way over from the yard. So hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I can have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's given it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Look at this smug son of a bitch.
Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side.
No, Drebber must have fled at the first sign of danger. Please don't be dead in there. Is something wrong, Mr. Sato?
I thought I heard a noise on the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too?
Yeah, I heard it and all.
What do you reckon, Toby?
Right, find the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard.
Aye, someone is in there.
This rotten, bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine. I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There, you may enter at will. Dog, he was so ready. Like, the E in fine didn't leave Gregson's mouth, and he was just already on his way to unlock it. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? For it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yeah. Is that a bomb? Like a dynamite bomb? What's happening here? Why is everything upside down?
Rats, there ain't no one in here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard the noises.
Maybe that was the sound of Drebber running away.
There's only one door in this room.
And no windows that could offer an escape route. Those skylights are too high. Well, I mean... maybe in conventional means. What's that up there? Those footprints on the ceiling? Blow me, what do we hear then?
Did you guys just miss this bomb?
Someone was trying to burn something in a hurry.
Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints.
To what? To that Professor Hairbrain's bombing machine, is it? Blimey. If we had these, there'd be no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. Well, what's significant about that? Never mind. See, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo.
Must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrives too.
Okay. So... there's no denying it, is there? Their footprints.
Yes, it would appear so. And I simply can't imagine how they came to be there.
Isn't there a Susato shoot-up or something? Like a takedown, I mean.
No Wonder Woman, Mr. Naruhodo.
That will make her almost superhuman, I suppose. Very large safe. I suppose even Mr. Sholmes could crack open that lock. Although, if you were a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose.
Welcome to the family, son.
I'm late and then I had to watch an ad. Things had to change.
Fair enough, Mimsy. Speaking of things changing, welcome back to the family for the 4 months with the Prime Gaming. Appreciated as always. Thank you very much.
Bolted to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhanded trick, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, then you could just steal the floor as well, I suppose.
I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. Anyway, I think we can agree on that whatever is inside must be important.
The only way that I could see shit happening is he used the rope to climb up out of the window. But everything in here is... unless this room flips somehow, but I don't fucking see that happening. Because this is a bed right here. This stool is everything is upside down, right? But these books are still perfectly on the shelf. I'm just so confused. Alright. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a...
Objection!
2 months to anniversary Pog.
An odd back for 10 months at tier 2. Thank you very much for sticking with the family odd, and 2 months indeed to the anniversary, not the university. 2 months to a university? Is that a measure of time? I don't know. Distance? Anyways, I think that was very apropos timed. Miss Usato, what's the matter?
Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it?
What did you say?
Time bomb?
Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? You are truly one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment.
You don't know nothing, do you, Hodo?
You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance.
Oh, thank goodness. But then, what is it?
See, so that's it.
Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter?
There are times when I consider my lot most unfair. For I'm fated to never know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. What's going on, Jose? How you doing? Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Ginro, what's going on?
Oh, but how could you...
Second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is, without question, completely genuine.
Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything.
It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway.
Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done.
Too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato.
Yes, I'd be delighted.
So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot! Flipped furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, the chairs, and the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor.
Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that...
Hey! Hey! Idiots! Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. What is that? 432581?
Goodness.
The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Susato. I too was quite incredulous at first. However, my conviction and analysis was cemented when I observed this. Anti-gravity device almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact.
But why does it have a clock on it?
Most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So, you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Because gravity was inverted. Where the fuck is McDrebber? Or McDrebber? Where is Enoch Drebber then? Now let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling?
A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Force Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room. Excepting the skylight, that is.
Ah.
Whoa! By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was to fall conveniently to the ceiling. Make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way.
But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Shaw. If gravity reversal was sudden, would Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently?
Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
Oh, the rope.
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring on one end of the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Trevor was able to escape this room before on arrival. Or he didn't escape at all and he's just hiding inside the safe. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now. Just for fun. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. She's so happy to be back to this bullshit. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there is just one thing that troubles me. Expected nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? In anti-gravity device, I mean. How the hell did Gina get that dog? She just found him. Like, legitimately, it may sound like, oh, ahaha, she pickpocketed from someone. No, she just found the dog. Literally just came across him in the street. Say that with man's current scientific knowledge, at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. So impossible then. What's going on, Kurama? We started off in Drebber's workshop. We heard a thud in here, and then we went to go investigate, and Herlock has now deduced that the time bomb in the center of the room is an anti-gravity device that allowed him to escape through the ceiling. So, but your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yeah, I have a feeling I read it in something that Miss Susato lent me once.
Objection!
Oh! Susato objection coming back strong.
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the spell's broken at last.
The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it?
Indeed it was. In lonely coils near the wall.
But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall?
Mysteries inevitably unravel at the end. As I think you'll find, do ropes. As evidence of such, you only need look at the mystery we faced in this room. Now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of the rope.
I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yeah, you're right. We must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. You're ready? Then let us resume. Sherlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Alright, what was it? Everything was upside down. Except for like the bookshelf and the pictures, right? This was kind of cool though. The envisioning of everything falling or going back to its quote-unquote original position. Hey, wait a minute.
I think that gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive such an explanation.
But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so...
Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once.
Ooh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he?
While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. There's a fucking, a vase that's not upside down here. Upright vase? Well, shit.
Take that!
There we go. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. On my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes, trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down, this unassuming slender vase was keenly standing to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss.
Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes.
But the show must go on. So, let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite. Naturally, there was an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he?
I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong.
Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned over all this furniture. So whoever it was must have had a reason.
I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though.
Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself, not prevents itself.
Whew.
I need a drink. Is it just gonna be the fucking safe code?
Take that!
Yeah, because it's on the bottom of the chair. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yeah, last year. I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down in the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it. But people are forgetful souls at heart, and you always make a written note of important information.
Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think.
You know what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it. But people are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down.
If you always note things in the same place...
I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into and I had to turn my room upside... Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it down on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one. Leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here, in a desperate hurry, to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Well, now we know that this is Cap. I kind of like that this one, there isn't someone to, someone to bait out, right? You know, like, we're not looking for somebody's, glance. We're not trying to catch somebody in a lie. You know, we're just shooting the shit, basically.
Well, if a change of gravity can't explain it, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there?
Yeah, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve.
Can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed.
It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place.
Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Skylight, well, I mean... It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look.
Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think?
If so, then judging on the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up at the ceiling, though?
Dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Well...
Take that!
Shoe. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. On closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon.
But for what purpose?
There's something in the basket. Green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar, Data. Ah!
There was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene.
Inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage. The crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception.
You mean to say?
If we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on that day, there is a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway.
Welcome to the family, son.
And Odd with the gift over to Kyoro. Welcome back to the family, Kyoro. I know you are busy, but if you are still able to hear me, please go ahead and show your generosity to Odd. Thank you very much, Odd. But that balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah! Was probably Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with a shoe. Probably not the best thing to tear a hole in. You have, like, books in this place, right? However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights.
Oh dear. I desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we can see inside.
You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
The rope! Mr. Sholmes had managed to bring the deduction back to the rope.
Alright, I have to admit that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and pull it down to what's on the ground?
Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well.
True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Oh shit, what? Well, I mean the crossbow, right? Yeah, and we know that it belongs to him, so yeah, that makes sense.
Take that!
Have we used evidence in a, logic and reasoning before? I don't think we have. I think it's the first time. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow?
That was found at the scene, in fact.
And in all likelihood, it belongs to Mr. Drebber. The man had already brought it away with him that day. He could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Hey, dickhead. And of course, the face is fucking covered. This is the head of the wax sculpture that was stolen from Madame Two Spells. But its face cannot be seen, so we still don't know who the fuck, the professor is. Which is very unsettling. Waxwork. Indeed it is. Waxwork's head is inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means.
Just a moment. This is the head of a waxwork model. Does that mean... Oh, goodness.
I see you've joined the dots, Mr. Sato. Excellent. Of course! A headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Two Spells model that you largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Two Spells will now have to settle a sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yeah.
But why is it here?
This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Two Spells, turning it, Sans Tete, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Hairbrain's case and the waxwork abduction they're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop and by Enoch Drebber himself, but I mean, like, that's just a splitting hairs at this difference. Waxwork head has been added to the court record. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. Also... Damn, that shit is like... Oh, wait. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to remove that latch. Man. If only we had a great lockpick with us, right? This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you.
Terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal.
I know. It's starting to make me livid, actually.
Mr. Naruhodo, please.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless. Yeah, that's the issue.
Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger.
Oh, right. Sorry. Damn. Well, can't do shit with it. Does top come off? Nope. Royal Society Award. Fuck me. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. That looks like what it would say.
Seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebber was really a very talented scientist. Okay. I really thought something was going to be inside here, like the key. We never looked at this broken piece of glass either, did we? Oh, thick as fuck. This piece of glass is almost thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely?
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of the great structure.
Alright. So Nathan... All that remains is, he has to speak with the architect of this adventure. Oh, fuck! I completely forgot we were still in this.
The architect?
Up until this point, you've heard the Type A and B versions of the Dance of Deduction. This one is playing as Type C. Yeah, the strings have a different tempo and melody. This one's nice. Yeah, obviously this one is like the final version with everything put into it. You mean Mr. Drebber? Is it Enoch or Enoch? I think it's however you say it, you're still like, it's Ebenezer Scrooge, right? It's not Ebenezer, it's not... You can say it either way, right? Enoch or Enoch, right? Like, hold on, let me... Is he in the core record? Gotta be, right? Yep. Enoch, right? You can hard pronounce the O, or you can just say Enoch, right? Enoch, right? Because that's just the N-O-C-H kind of just sounds like Nick, right? Like it's almost like an umlauted O. What the fuck? He has a picture? Yeah. Of course he does. Because we have a picture of him. As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? His location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction. Enoch Drebber is right here. Somewhere in this room? So, Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Yeah, of course. Mr. Trevor's hiding place must be the... Well, I mean...
Take that!
I was gonna throw up if that wasn't it. Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that the search for this combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Boggers. I completely forgot we were in the deduction after we presented the crossbow. I thought it was over at that point. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we enter this game of hide-and-seek. Don't you? By opening this safe, you mean? What else? Let's see, the combination was
432582.
I knew that! Right then, here goes. Hey, bud. Nice hand. How would he get out if they didn't find him? Well, you see there's this lever on the inside of the safe. I totally knew it was there before I answered this question. What's going on, Multi? How you doing? You found me. Okay. This one's good. This is a good song. You put a fucking 808 on top of this? This is a crazy shit. Hold on. Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume? Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built.
And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork for Madame Tuspel's as well.
Yes, I would be delighted to answer your many questions.
Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first.
Deactivate?
Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position.
So what was your plan if we never came in here? What if we were just like, oh well, and the bomb went off? It's like a good, what, 10 feet from you in that safe? You're done. Maybe the safe would have survived the explosion? No. For those of you that don't know about explosives, that answer is a hard fuck no. Oh my goodness.
Ha ha ha.
I see. Stunned silence.
You're all gearing up to die with me then. No. Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare.
That was too close for comfort. Got one foot in the grave already. You trying to help us get a killer or get us killed?
Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they?
I'm not questioning the effectiveness of the explosions, merely the durability of the safe. No. A safe like that? No. There is no such thing, right? A safe like that is not surviving a fucking... Hold on, let me see if I can get a good look at the bomb, right? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. What was that, like at least like 8 sticks of dynamite? Yeah, that safe is getting ripped in half. Yeah. 7 sticks of dynamite. That safe does not stand a fucking chance. I'll tell you right fucking now. At least not to the point where you'd be inside there and be completely fine. You're getting fucked up. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say.
Anti-gravity devices don't exist.
Oh, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. Is it still on the ground back there? Yeah. That's killing whoever's in that safe, but, like... It's just, like, if you get inside this, you're praying. It's essentially like sitting right next to it and praying. But I digress. What on earth happened here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any... Yo! Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Gotcha!
Got C6 yeah meal yesterday, Percelia.
And there's Gallus. Welcome back to the family, Gallus, for the 19 months at Tier 3. Welcome back to the family, brother. Appreciated as always. Your CIA agent is wondering why you know so much about explosives like that? Because I just looked it up. It's not like this is fucking classified Black Ops knowledge. Yeah, look, SM just looked it up. One stick can blast a tree stump clear out of the ground? Yeah. So think what 7 sticks of dynamite 10 feet away from you can do. Dev thought he could. We did have tips on hide and industrial fridge to survive nuclear fallout. Bro, fuck Indiana Jones. That shit was so stupid. Oh my god, that was hilarious though. I remember laughing at that scene. Because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Well, we'll be giving it a thorough go-over, don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt.
Whistling?
Ah, that would have been me. Don't be so proud.
Oh.
For some reason, I woke in fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips.
Clearly I must have a screw loose though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down.
We also found a rope over by the wall.
Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So, I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe.
Finding the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. After that, you hid yourself inside the safe? having first set this parcel ticking. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. You already know. What's a death wish, have you? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. Again, that's cap. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely.
But once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again.
I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be locked from within. So it is. I always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow all this up? No. That was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah! I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Look how smug he is. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you evidently been involved in recently? Professor Hairbrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. Oh, hold on. God damn it, Trevor. God damn it, Trevor. I needed to be specifically on this screen. Clad in a mask with the lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering it, carrying it around as protection, after all. That's enough. Oh! Hey, Scythe. I guess it makes sense that you would be here, yeah, Forensic Investigations team. I was about to say, what the fuck are you doing here? But then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, she should be here. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well... Dr. Scythe again. So the Forensic Investigation team are here. And you know full well that this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe. If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. So you haven't softened at all. Mr. Norohodo. Yeah? It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But, Mr. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out. Now. All of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place. And the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that hit this lot disarmed. Inspector. Yeah, he's right. Fuck you, Scythe. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Drebber? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. Did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes. You did disarm that one. What are you talking about? That one? You mean... No. Oh. Well, I'm glad that we're all out of here. Not the bobbies. It was an hour later that we heard the news. The enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage at the Great Exhibition. Professor Hairbrain's invention and all of its secrets. Blown away forever. I want to see what the what the resulting scene looked like there. Oh boy. I'm trying to see a fucking crater. You know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom! Oh yeah, y'all got that bomb. Chuckles. 24th of October, 9:11 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. You're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today.
Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again.
Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but My dear fellows, I must interject. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, Sorry? I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, rouse at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree? Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred.
Oh my. Iris has been busy.
Iris isn't having her to go that far. She's too nice.
Ah, I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea.
I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Okay. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor?
What? I don't know!
Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? Ah, I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the Professor's autopsy report. The fucking what?
At mass murderers?
Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. He was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. Well, fuck up. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Why the fuck do we need it is A, the first question, B... redacted. Oh my god. Pseudonym, The Professor. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Courtney Stevens. So, wait a minute. Speaking of more pseudonyms... Is her name actually Scythe? Alright, anyway. Also, I was gonna note that we have a full up 2-page court record here. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. I slowly lotted the yard, just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great detective of Great Detective Sholmes, of course. There he goes. Well then, Professor Hairbrain, this is it. Today we're gonna lay all of this to rest at last.
I wish you the best of luck, Professor.
I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? Trevor.
Yes. We expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness.
I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel and the defendant, the trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once. Here we go. This is it then. The final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. We're gonna take the mask off of the professor head and it's just gonna be us.
Are we, Chris? We're the girls giving lit out here.
What's going on, hacks? How you doing? Welcome back for the 8 months. And girls are most definitely giving lit out here, bro. How you doing? Welcome back. Much appreciated as always. And there he is. There's Cosima. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? I don't know. I kind of feel like at this juncture, you just lock Drebber up, right? Like, you go, oh yeah, he caused a fucking bomb to go off in the middle of the Great Exhibition. Yeah, maybe it was him, you know? Maybe it was. The prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zieks is his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. So what's gonna happen, right? How do we get his memory back, right? Do we, like, does somebody, like, break into the court and try to attack us and we have to use, karma, right? Does Drebber do some bullshit on the stand and we have to draw karma out? That would be pretty fucking cool. Is Van Zieks really that tall? I wasn't expecting Cosmo to be that short. Well, Van Zieks he's got a full 10 years on, Cosima. At least, right? I have no idea how much exactly older he is, because if we look at the fucking court record... Oh, who could it be? But we know that Van Zieks is 33. He's got, at least 10 years on us. Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes. My apprentice and his assistant. Cosima is also 23. Okay, so a full 10 years. Yeah, he's got a full 10 years on him. Cosima's standing a little bit back, right? Isn't Cosima dead? Oh, yeah, so we thought. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Oh! Yeah, sure, that's not Cosima. I'll go fuck myself. He just sabered his fucking wine bottle for no reason. What a guy. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. In the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it.
The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else.
But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment.
No, but... oh, this is so very hard.
To be fair, Zieks is also good with his sword as well. I mean, we just have not seen... we have not seen Van Zieks use his sword, right? We've seen Cosima use his sword. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand that you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yeah, all us. Fuck the prosecution. All me. Actually. Hey. That one was all attributed to Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I intended to call him as a witness shortly. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty.
I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing.
To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me.
We have to listen to what's said both sides of the fence, and, settle on the one. That's it, isn't it?
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zeeks. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. Yesterday, at the Brigade Exhibition grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case. The super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons. It was... what? An explosion?
Put the piece away, guy.
This is an outrage! Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard was submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames. I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. All exactly what I was hoping for. Shows what little remains of the machine. Yes. Terrible business.
He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber.
Court will take this print as evidence, counsel. Post-explosion photograph. And we can see that it's open. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded by the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed, most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was a result of actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. But it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately caused the loss of its control.
Objection!
Whoa, hey, whoa. As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names, counsel, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So what exactly were the two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Van Zeeks, summon your first witness, please. That's literally like the, almost like a textbook opening statement. Like, obviously very weird with the presentation of, like, evidence off rip, right? But, hey, what's your opening statement? Yeah, the prosecution stands by the fact that the defendant killed the victim. And then, oh no, the defense asserts the defendant was misled by the victim and his accomplice and is no fault of his own, right? That's like literally almost like one of the first times in Ace Attorney that we've had a proper fucking opening statement. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand. Look at him. That big son of a bitch. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation, hard to pin down, I would say. See that black monocle? Yeah, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I had exactly the same feeling myself. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? Most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago. The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it, in precise accordance with the blueprints. But that is all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was a bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
Objection!
But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection!
Fuck it. It's so crazy that this pose right here almost completely covers Kazuma. You've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by the means of staged trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility. Nothing more. But... We procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. The kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and crash headfirst into the Crystal Tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. A body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. Would I be right in saying that you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? We haven't proved... Not people, fuck. We haven't really proved anything. We don't have the machine. We do have the birdcage, I guess. Have I looked at this before? Oh. Look here, Mr. Sato.
Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height.
Yeah, from the height at which the balloon was flying, down into the Crystal Tower below. But it fell head first. Fall of about 30 feet.
or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead.
Welcome to the family, son.
Hoosiers.
Master, back for the 18 months. Welcome back to the family, brother. Appreciated as always. You caught us in the middle of looking at a bird cage. Those are some birds. Is that really it? I suppose the evidence did update, but... yeah, it looks like the top of it's completely fine. Well, shit. I'm very glad that we were able to carry this around and just walk around with it in our pocket. And now we have our third page of stuff. Alright, so... birdcage at the second to last statement? Yeah. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman has no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what by all accounts must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witnesses' workshop can attest to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for the young talent in science there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to some sniveling, talentless scientist in the past, would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by the misuse of science? Hold on, my man Drebber kind of got a fit on. That's kind of a little bit of a fit. Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. The kinesis machine. Yeah, birdcage, where it says he's got fucking... it fell headlong. Head first, I mean not headlong. Headstrong, I'll take you on. Headstrong, I'll present anything.
Objection!
We examined the birdcage that crashed into the Crystal Tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the Crystal Tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. I want a glove like this. That where you move it and the gears on the back of the palm just spin. That seems like it would be super fun, right? And depending on which fingers you move would determine how fast or like what direction it spins in. That would be super fun. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. Thank you, Judge. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. You just want to be steampunk? Not steampunk. Like mechanical in nature. It doesn't have to look like that, right? But like specifically not brass, right? Like just a glove that has like metallic gears on the back that spin and do something, right? I think that would be fucking dope. It doesn't have to be steam. I don't want it to fucking like whistle and pump out steam, right? I don't fuck with steampunk. Steampunk kind of looks weird. IMOTBH my BFF Jill. Like, I can understand the appeal, but it's not for me. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the Crystal Tower. Yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day, which at some point were switched. Switch joining wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Gracious! Explain yourself, witness. Well... If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower.
Objection!
But multiple witness reports claim that it fell head first. Birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion. At an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level.
Which is approximately 18 meters.
It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the Crystal Tower in the ensuing deflagration. Deflagration? Deflagration, that's the word. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But every fucking eyewitness?
Objection!
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection!
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. He's laughing. He's dancing. He's hitting it. Riveting scientific analysis from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. He wasn't quiet for long.
I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler and one who's deceived a personal friend of his.
If you're going to establish this deception, do it right.
Sorry?
I feel like that's the undertone here. Ah, yes. And there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick. A certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? Seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Trevor, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course. We must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Nearly had him there. Ah, he hitting it. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. What? Are you stupid? Inside the fucking thing. Yeah. If this to here is 30 feet, here to here is 30 feet.
Objection!
This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the Crystal Tower. Fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Well, it appears the defense is a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you were referring to on this same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could have possibly fallen the requisite 30 feet.
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yeah, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see that it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience have fallen hold on. Give me a second. This one's kind of hard. Would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two.
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. I'm glad we didn't have to present that. I'm glad that that kind of just went without saying. Good lord, the metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone. Yeah, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated, immediately. What's going on, Equinox? How you doing? Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Hairbrain's hypotheses are sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmon's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could have only been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. He do be hitting it though.
Objection!
He do be hitting it. Sabered. The put away is like 1-to-1. Like it's just on the other side of the courtroom in the prosecution stand. My learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. That's you just didn't have to do that. Like, if we're keeping it a buck, like if you would have poured it yourself, right? Like if you would have opened up the bottle and poured it yourself, but you didn't. You had Cosmo do it. So what the fuck is wrong with you? The prosecution would like to crush the defense's arguments slowly, but surely. What? Your argument fails to hold water. on 2 counts. 2. Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. What is this? Okay. Guys, we're also going to take a break so I can eat a little bit. But let's look at everything here. If something just fell down this, like, because we also never got confirmation of how they recovered that birdcage, right? Is that a new bottle? Of course it is. We know this guy has like several bottles. But they're saying that nobody on the grounds saw anybody interact with this. Food break? Yeah, just a little bit. I got some chicken and rice that I had for lunch that I didn't finish. I like took like 4 bites and then I was like, oh boy, time to stream. He really broke a glass during a court trial? Have you seen any other part of the game that Baroque Van Zieks has been at the stand? Because not only will he break his wine glass, he will throw his wine bottle behind him, hitting some random public gallery member. I wonder if he's going to do that this trial. I wonder if there's a different animation for Kazuma being there with him. Because he's got one. Oh, you know what would be actually interesting? Hold on. What happens if he throws his glass back? He can't like extend his arm fully. He's gonna smack he's gonna smack his apprentice in the face. But what I would like to see is him fling the bottle back and Kazuma just kind of like do the fucking, you know, like the standard anime like draw sword and cut and then put it away at the same time. You know, that would be pretty cool. Hold on, this is almost all gone. I was eating very quickly. Hold on. Was very hungry. Ace Attorney courts be hitting different? Yeah, I knew they were hitting different from ever since the second game. They had the prosecutor just bring a whole whip to the court. Like a bull whip. And then in the third game, the prosecutor was whipping coffee cups at my head. Something was very clearly different here indeed. Edgeworth and Clavier are the only normal ones? Yeah, because Black Quill has his fucking falcon attack you too, right? That guy's an actual menace. Oh, was it a hawk, not a falcon? I thought it was a falcon. That's my mistake. Yeah, Nayuta had his prayer beads. I miss Nayuta. I really hope that we get a Ace Attorney 7 with Apollo and Nayuta together. That would be a sick game to me. But what else? Yeah, like Edgeworth and Clavier. Like Clavier, the worst he did was slam his hand on the wall behind him and then do guitar solos, right? Like air guitar solos, that was it. Franziska used a riding crop before she used the whip. Well, yeah, but that was in the anime when she was like an actual child, right? Whenever she shows up in the courtroom as a prosecutor, she has the whip. It was in investigations? Well, yeah, but remember when I said the whole thing about her being a prosecutor? She just hit Edgeworth with it. It wasn't like she was actually a prosecutor at the time. She was like in training, right? Anywho. I got myself some Swedish fish now that I've finished my my lunch, and I think we're ready to continue. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection!
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. Nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. The investigation team, huh? On the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Van Zieks? A contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from the government grants or other income. So, how much was Asman getting? 30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold his right on the condition that both contracting parties are alive. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. Are you talking about you and, Hairbrain? Let me see, because I might have read that wrong, right? Yeah, I did read it wrong. Entered with the victim. Yeah, he didn't enter it with Hairbrain. Excuse me. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. So in short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. Hmm. So he killed him for 30% gains? No. He was going to get 30% if Asmund stayed alive. We don't know how much he would be getting if he died, right? By that logic, what motive does Hairbrain have to do so? Exactly. But that's the thing with Ace Attorney. You can figure out that somebody didn't have motive, but then they're like, oh, well, this guy doesn't have motive. Anyway, guy that we can't figure out who has any particular type of motive, you're going to prison. It seems that the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. Well, here we go. Oh, the fuck it ain't. Hold on. The investor, Mr. Odie Asmund, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber has received 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. So it's literally 1-to-1, right? With what it says. So then we just can't trust the forensic team, right? So then it all falls on fucking Scythe, right? What right is he upholding, though, is my confusion. Like, in regards to the, what's the word? In regards to the actual contract? Uphold the right of receiving 30% of all remuneration, right? So he's not actually dead then, and we can't trust the, I guess they kind of set this up, right? With saying that Cosimo wasn't actually dead, right? They kind of gave us that, like, haha, maybe this might come up in the future type deal, right? If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been.
There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 birdcages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So I'm sure that you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I have no doubt that there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Laughing. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
I wonder who that voice could have belonged to. At the beginning of this trial, we only believed that there was 1 birdcage. Yet we now know that there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. Where's Cosimo? He wasn't there with Zeeks just now. If Zeeks was doing his, like, ham slam on the table, right, you wouldn't have seen him. Because I noted earlier that he kind of, like, covers him up entirely. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Yeah, see, he's there. You can see his hood. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So, if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
Accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else, the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel? Do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse neither party of involvement in this matter? What do I do here? At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice or not? The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. Which means the coroner is fucking wrong. But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? My lord. You have received a stark warning already. You are nevertheless determined. Then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? I pull up.
Take that!
The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
I'm sure it will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Miss Susato.
The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
Alright then. Here goes. Kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel. Now. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Syfe. So you guessed correctly? I mean, I didn't really guess. Like, all the evidence points to the forensic investigation team or the coroner being wrong here, right? It would be different if it was, like, oh, you know, we don't know who it could be. There's no evidence pointing to anybody. But they brought it up, like, a couple times, right? Like, oh, well, you know, according to the coroner's report, it's not a possibility, you know? Like, the coroner's report would have been wrong, is essentially what I'm saying. What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Syfe? The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy of the victim. That explains why she booted everyone out to talk to Drebber. Also, it explains a little of something else, right? If we're under the impression that in this autopsy... Because fucking we have no idea why this popped up, right? But if the Courtney Stevens that did the report of the professor is in fact Courtney Scythe, right? Instead of Scythe Stevens, right? If it's the same Courtney, right? Then she would want the, she would have enough incentive to try to trade out for the head. Right? We know that there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could have only been in that team's presence. What's going on, Zone? How you doing? The question we don't know is what's her stake for the head? Well, I think that she's... because, again, if we're under the impression that Strongheart knows everything about the Professor killings, and she is listed as one of Lord Strongheart's most trusted allies, right? Then it all ties back to Strongheart. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. You've got a nerve, lad. You got a nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. Do you visit there often? How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? My word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body. Yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. Well... Oh, hold on. Because that's why the, wait. We might actually know what the professor looks like then. Where is he? The professor would look like this? Is the professor actually going to be James Moriarty? Dude, that would be sick. I would really appreciate that. That would be fucking dope. There's nobody who could have fulfilled a body double, right? Except for the missing waxwork, right? It was shown all along. But yeah, no, if the body double, if the needed body double was the professor's waxwork, right? Then the professor has to look at least somewhat close to, what's his name? At least close to Asman, right? That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must have also been one person inside of each. Don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double. But gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't a filibustering council. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witness would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! the body double inside the second birdcage was... Well, no, actually, that doesn't make sense, right? Because that would imply that this didn't have the helmet on in the first place, right? It's very clearly still the... this is still the thing that I need to present, because remember, in the pocket of the professor, we found the piece of broken glass from the Crystal Tower. So, the Professor Wax model was there, right? But we have no idea if this helmet was on him or not. We never really got to ask Madame Two Spells if the helmet was on him in the first place.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower. Yes, Counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself and come out with it.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was... And unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. When did we get this set up, by the way? Bring your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. Fuck. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago. The Professor.
Objection!
Started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice of this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting the waxworks. Yeah, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Two Spells. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. And the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now, the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman. Ah, got him, GG's.
Objection!
Oh, shit. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Van Zeeks, I don't know if you're aware, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Well, they're gonna be on his side. Wait! Yeah, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty. Guilty.
And
Guilty. Guilty.
I did not expect the magician to sound like that.
Gilby.
That guy say Gilby? That guy didn't say guilty, he said Gilby. We gotta run that back. So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way. I'm quite sure.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. Defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I now ask you to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. So, here's the thing, right? Even if they don't believe me, how are they going to say that the scientist killed him, right? Even if they don't believe everything that we've said, right? How the fuck are you going to say that Hairbrain did this? Well, we're going in backwards already? I've known that woman for years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything. Tower garners worldwide acclaim. London, Britain, and the Industrial Revolution. Transport device, the Crystal Tower. Utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxworks man, the man's soul has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. Okay. What do you... I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture. I got some proof for you, pussy, right here in my pocket. Using someone without right evidences. He's not a proper job, is he? Won't have it. It's kind of weird that, Juror 6 was first. But unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim. I can only applaud my learned friend temerity at suggesting that it is Mr. Asmon's body double. Yeah, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. That's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling that it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, you can't fucking tell? I can't explain why at the moment. But I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean? Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yeah, I agree. I have to find a way out of this. Seek a way out. Akane just appears in the witness stand. You are ready, counsel? You may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Still gonna say it? Summation exhumation would have been a much better name. Hey, Kazuma. Hey, bud. We're gonna be walking around with your sword. Hey, bud. You wanna look at the sword? Look at the sword, bro. Please look at the sword. Known that woman for years. Yeah, hold on. Let me get to. You don't trust the fucking cops? Admirable. I agree, right? Fuck 12, but
Hold it!
what sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. We perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives... Hey! You don't have a fucking grip safety, why? Now, normally I don't talk about things like this, chat, right? This is a very off-brand topic for me. Never do this. Ever. Never do this. Right? I'm pretty sure if I pause the game, right? Yeah. You can see that the gun is still cocked, right? The hammer is back. This is extremely dangerous, and even though an anime video game about lawyers, right? Just keep in mind, never fucking do this. Ever. For any reason. Alright. Anywho.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole? Who are you calling a mass murderer? The guy playing with a loaded fucking revolver in the courtroom. Ah, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, Sonny? Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly, you do. My day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. So you're saying I shouldn't twirl my guns like Revolver Ocelot? No. You shouldn't, actually. Spinning your guns offers you no tactical advantage whatsoever. What was it like, sir? We worked our fingers to the bones to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? But no one would have called a coroner into question in them days. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it. Well, then. Dr. Courtney Stevens, huh? She was the best of the best, and the apple of the force's eye. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Sorry, got a bit carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Sykes' maiden name. Her maiden name. So that was before she was married. Oh, see, silly me. It's Scythe now, isn't it? Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bop. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing. Not like now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name? Well, yes, I don't see why not. Yeah, it's so weird to have juror number 6 at the very beginning. It's so weird. But I need to talk to the scientist. You know rigorous proof? I can't... Can I present something to him right now? No, I can't. I can only examine stuff. Because I was gonna say, hey man, here's this piece of fucking glass. Maybe if I just press him? But you claim this whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. But I did. But there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Whoops. That's not the person I want to talk to. Sorry? I grant you, given this cage appears from amidst an explosion, there have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about the waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? I have fucking evidence. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh. Keep doing that. I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. That's racist. You're wearing a black coat. Read Juror 3 counters Juror 4? What do you mean? Well, I mean, we'll talk about it in just a second. Given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the birdcage. Namely...
Take that!
What's that? Piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass. Yeah, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not an ordinary glass, though. It's very thick, made for extra strength. Much like special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. Crystal Tower, holy smoke! Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass. From whence this small piece originated. Is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence supports the assertion that has been placed before you. As I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say that color shouldn't come into it. Yeah. Don't know why I had to come into it in the first place. You dipshit. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. The presence of that little piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside that birdcage. Wait. Haven't I... Shut your little ass up. Alright?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Put the fucking corn down. Gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5.
Ooh, you mean me?
Pointing out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the waxwork model was in... Hey, Cosmo, look at the sword. But the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, Cosmo the sword, as the defense demonstrated to the jurors sitting beside you.
Ooh, is that right?
Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest.
Of course you don't. I could interject here. Please do, sir. This assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence. It would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
Ballin'. Ah, well, me too, then.
Sorry?
This brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears.
Born. I'm balling. Success! If you can call it that. Alright, we got you. You don't trust the police, but we pressed this. This is most troubling to show that the wax work the man stole is nothing to. Ooh! Hey, bitch! What's going on, bitch? Yep.
Objection.
And then they're gonna ask me to present something, and I'll show them the fucking professor autopsy report. Gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But, oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Scythe's maiden's name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence, you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor. I'm ballin'.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork. The killer known as the Professor. Following? Van Zeeks, you following? Cosmo the Sword? No? The Professor's? But that man was a capital offender, so... That's right. This is a certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens?
Strike a light! It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tuspel's. A waxwork that doesn't, in fact, resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber. Well, we know the link, right? Because Scythe performed the autopsy, and Enoch Drebber is depicted as the man seeing the man who was in the fucking autopsy climb out of his grave, right? They're very clearly linked by that.
Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further.
Right. We can't let this trial end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. I'm surprised he didn't just shoot the flame. Fuck you, Van Zeeks. Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now call guilty against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time, and the trial must continue. We did it!
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory.
No, we're not gonna investigate it. What can we fucking investigate? The waxwork of the despicable professor used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that does at least warrant further investigation. It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
Don't look so happy about it. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. The owner? Madam Two Spells. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Two Spells to appear as a witness with immediate effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yeah? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. I heard Pandora got a firebox. The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. What about fucking Scythe? Madam Two Spells, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. So it was a TBC. Any knowers know how long the next part, assumably the very last part of this is going to be? Because we're almost at the 3-hour mark. And I'm not trying to be here for another 2 hours. But if it's not, it shouldn't be that long, right? Decently long. Okay, I'll go fuck myself. So, would you guys be okay with stopping here, or do you want to try to finish this chapter up today? The rest is just court stuff? I would hope so, right? Trial part 3. Honestly, it's your guys' call right now. Y'all want to try to finish it up today, or do you want to save this for Monday? Because the only reason I say that is because we're going to be doing D&D with Mikey tomorrow, and I have no idea how long that's going to run, and it's if I'm going to stream tomorrow, it's probably just going to be some Final Fantasy bullshit. This is a good stopping point. I'm good waiting. You can save it for Monday. Perfect. Well, I think that is going to do it for me for today then. I'd like to thank you all very much for coming out today. We might be streaming later tonight. Might be picking up the night shift after Shofu. Just doing like 14 nonsense. But for now, before we do take off, I do want to give a shout out over to Skyward for sticking with us for the 5 months, a Memesy for sticking with us for the 4 months, Odd for coming back for the 10 months at tier 2, and for gifting a sub over to Kioro. Or Gallus, I was about to call him by his actual, or call them by their actual fucking Twitch name. That was going to be a misnomer. But Gallus for sticking with us for the 19 months at tier 3. Axe for sticking with us for the 8 months, and Master for coming back for the 18 months. Like I said, we'll either be here later tonight doing some Final Fantasy XIV stuff, or we will be playing tomorrow during the daytime after Mikey's campaign. But with that said, I'd like to thank you all very much once again for coming out. I'll catch you guys either later tonight or tomorrow, like I said. But until then, you guys take it easy. Peace.